Hello again, welcome back to Redemption with Jaden. Today, got something sort of special for you. Of course, I don't know, we're kind of early in the whole stages of this channel anyway, so everything's kind of special. But what's the special thing we got going on here is that today I'm going to be using a contender deck that I actually built for Derek Tirado, the owner of YourTurnGames. His name is also the Watchman on the boards in Discord. So he's a Redemption reseller. You can check out his website. I'll have a link to the deck in the description where you can purchase it for just $65. And the way that the contender decks work is that they're kind of geared toward players who are sort of new, but they're like ready to get past the starter decks, and they want to know how they can be more competitive in tournaments and have decks that include all the different card types, and so they can get used to using those. And then the way it works is that you can buy this deck. It's got some pretty high value cards in it, but not all of the most valuable cards, otherwise the deck would be way too expensive. So you can buy the deck, and then as you grow your collection you can tweak it and personalize it so that make it how you want. Today it's going to be the purple and crimson contender deck, so it's based around brigades. So I guess I'll just kind of show you the deck here. Gotta find it. So the offense has kind of some royalty and disciples, so some Old Testament purple themes, some New Testament purple themes, and then the defense kind of has the same sort of thing but in crimson. So got a few Edomites, got a few animals, got a few Babylonians, and some New Testament characters, which are mostly heretics. We don't really, don't have a whole lot of the heretics in here, just kind of some of the New Testament evil characters, like Sapphira is a pretty popular one, Outsiders from Revelation. So yeah, we're gonna see how it goes here. Let's see, this deck is not supposed to be 51 cards. I guess I don't have the most updated version yet. Alright, hold on, I gotta double check what card came out. Alright, so deck should be all good to go now. If you haven't guessed already, this is actually going to be the first time I'm playing the final version of the deck, because there were a few tweaks just at the end that were made right before the deck became available. So there was definitely some testing going into the deck to see what cards worked and what cards didn't, but really doesn't have to be like a final version, because when you buy the deck then you're going to want to customize it anyway. So feel free to check it out and do that. Today we're going to be testing the deck out against René from Germany. He's been playing since 2014. He goes by Reth on the boards and in Discord. Been great to get to know him over the last couple months, because he was able to play in the online tournaments, which were his first ever official tournaments, which was sweet. So that's been good to see. So yeah, let's dive into it. So I've got 2 stars, I think. I'll use them both. Definitely want to use Redeeming Branch, and then I can also might as well use Gathered Together as well. So we're going to take a Fruit of the Spirit from Reserve or discard pile. So we're going to take Joy, and then we're going to do I want Solomon or Joash? Joash is nice because you can grab artifacts from Reserve, which, as you can see, we've got Worship of Edom, Asher Pole, Covenant with Adam, and New Covenant all in here. So let's just go and grab him. I think he's probably the best start. King Solomon is nice. We can look at the hand, or look at opponent's hand and grab an OT Fortress. But it's okay. So this goes, Joash goes to the top of the deck. The rest of these go into hand. And so he drew the Dull Lost Soul, so it looks like he will get to choose who goes first. Starting out, we actually got a pretty decent hand for not having any Lost Souls. Do have some defense with Nebuchadnezzar. Conjurers is nice. You can grab battle winners from Reserve, like Invoking Terror is pretty good. Christian Suing another. It's nice. Starts a side battle. And then Worship of Edom can also be used as a battle winner, as the enhancement, and the artifact part can also be used as a battle extender. And then Divination is in here. We'll maybe talk about that later, but you can maybe try to figure it out on your own if you can see why I have Letters to the Churches in my hand and Divination in my reserve. Alright, so he's putting on Polycarp. Doesn't look like he searched for John, which is fine, but now he's playing Love Righteousness to search deck or discard pile for a white hero. If I were to guess, it's going to be Music Leader, just because that's kind of the strongest play with white heroes these days, although David Heart After God is pretty good, but off of Polycarp, probably not going to be a heavily New Testament offense. He's also got Storehouse, protecting his hand and deck, and Reserve from opponents. Really nice card. But there's a lot of stuff that recently came out in Lineage of Christ that can punish for having your hand protected. So, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Alright, so it's my turn now. I get to draw 3 because I went second. Don't have any Lost Souls now, so that's good. I think we might as well just use Redeeming Branch because that's not a search. You gotta be careful of drawing and searching. So let's go ahead and just put down Peter. I'll play Redeeming Branch to look at my top 6. And I can grab a hero or a star card, and it is not optional, so because there are no heroes or star cards, and I actually have to reveal it to Reth as well. Alright, so now they just go back on top. There were 2 Lost Souls in there, which is means I'm gonna have to get ready to defend once I draw again, but or I could just search, but I don't really think I want to do that, especially if I'm attacking. Then he would get to use Dull as well, and I don't really have a great rescue. I mean, Gather Together is good, and I guess it would be nice to maybe band of his heroes. It would also be nice if he didn't have those counters, and I could just go search for like my Damascus and put it in play. Because that would be a pretty good counter to Music Leader. Well, I guess it would kind of just be like it trigger some cycle, I guess, but and maybe be fine with that trade. So let's just put down Bathsheba. I really don't want him to be able to search with Dull either, so we don't have any Lost Souls. I think we can afford to wait a little bit, so I'll just pass. First, I mean, I am going to have to get around Dull at some point. Would be nice if I had Son of God, could just take it out. Not have to worry about it. Dull is kind of it's a Lost Soul that's sort of been in and out of the meta. I think it's still really powerful, but since it doesn't really give you any benefit when drawn, then a lot of competitive players don't use it, just because there are lots of other options like Remnant or Exiles or Hunter to get one of those 2, or Prosperity or Lawless that just give you that immediate benefit. So you get some acceleration there. Alright, so he's going to use Storehouse, able to grab an OT enhancement from his reserve. Alright, so you grab Kinsman's Agreement from Storehouse. So seems like a pretty good play. It looks like he's got a brown defense going on, so he plays Kinsman's Agreement as evil off of Green Vashti, looks like. Which means that he can only use it on my good enhancements, which is probably a safe bet at this point, considering I've only shown my offense. Alright, so he advances the turn because he doesn't have any lost souls to go for, and as we saw with Redeeming Branch, there was a lost soul in my top 3. Alright, so, I do have 4 Drachma coin now. I think I'm just going to go ahead and activate it. I don't have to use the discard to draw right away because it is at any time while Peter is in play. I don't know if I want to use it right now because then he can just use Music Leader. I'm not going to use it yet. I think I'm kind of thinking just going with Bathsheba, exchanging with King Solomon, and getting my Damascus out, because that's seems to be what wouldn't really help me. I just kind of gotta bite the bullet on his doll and his Music Leader. But let's see. King Solomon does put it in play, so I would get the benefits right away, which is nice. So I'm going to bring out King Solomon, and unfortunately his hand's protected, so we can't look at it. And then I do, it's a mandatory search actually, so I do that. Nothing's negating him, so I don't think there are any other OT fortresses that would be better. The only other fortress I think that I have is Colosseum, which explains Divination and Letters to the Churches. Makes those both really strong cards to toss. So that can maybe catch someone by surprise. We'll see if we can pull it off later on. Alright, so he's using his Music Leader twice. Which, I believe that now that Damascus has been played, I would get to trigger it. I've got 10 cards in my hand, he's got 6 cards in his hand, so if we continue to just go back and forth with me drawing off of his search, then let's see, he would get 2 cards each time, so that means he could do like up to 5 searches, and I could do, means I would get like 5 draws. I guess I'm okay with that. I think, yeah. Alright, so then he's using Music Leader again. Okay, well this time he's going to discard pile. Yeah, he's grabbing Love Righteousness. So because the discard pile is not a deck, then I don't get to draw from Damascus. So he stopped the cycle there. Nice part is that it increases my hand size by 1 too, so I only have to get down to 9, which, I mean, not a huge problem right now since I have plenty of characters I can put down, but fewer characters I have to put down the better, because then, you know, don't spoil the blocks that I have available. let's see, I did draw 5. I'm guessing that means he's got foreign wives as his block. Should actually be kind of funny because, I mean, you know, got King Solomon here. That would be a case in which if I had Colosseum, that would be sweet because that means I could toss my letters to the churches because toss is regardless of protection. So I might have to use that early or later on. If I have Colosseum, maybe I can save my 4 drachma coin to kind of bait a foreign wives block, and then letters to the churches would be pretty much a guaranteed rescue there. I mean, of course, unless he has like Christian Martyr or something like that, but you know, it would be my initiative after the block. So could be good. We'll see what he does here. This turn, yeah, I don't think there's really anything I can do against foreign wives. I can maybe, I mean, if I abandoned his heroes with Gathered Together, it wouldn't really do much because she'd still be protected. So the only thing I could do is use Joash to take an OT artifact from reserve, but I don't think, nothing in here is going to give me anything that's regardless of protection, so probably not worth risking another search off of Dull. Looks like he missed the Dull trigger off of Bathsheba and King Solomon, which, or maybe he was just choosing not to so that I didn't get the more draws off of Damascus, but I don't know, probably would have been worth it for him to search. Alright, so he's going Deceiver. I'm going to guess he's going to go to Foreign Wives in his hand. It was pretty convenient that I drew 2 off Damascus, so it put me exactly at 5. So we both passed. He wins the stalemate because it's protected. Now I have to get down to 9. Let's see. Let's move these guys up a little bit and make some room for evil characters here. Aliens, I'm not too worried about spoiling that. I have, you know, some Soul Gen. And then Outsiders is fine. Alright, so I think we're in decent shape here. We got some good setup. I mean, he's got quite a few cards here. After his draw 3, he'll be at hand limit. So the blocking might be kind of difficult here, but I guess we'll see. Okay, so yeah, he didn't miss at all. So every tribe is one of the more expensive or high value cards in this deck. It's really nice in multiplayer. I think it's pretty good in 2-player too, since you can ban 2 any of your opponent's heroes if you have a good king in play, or if you control a good king. And then if you control another priest, you can look at your top X, which is the number of heroes you control, and just take one of them. So it's really nice for just getting to the card you need. Plus he's 112, so gets initiative pretty easily. So playing something like Authority of Christ or something would be pretty strong on him. Authority of Christ is one of the cards that once you have the deck, if you can obtain the Authority of Christ promo, then probably want to swap it in to upgrade. The benefit of using the original version here is that you can recur it with Matthew, who's also in the deck. He can take a good Matthew enhancement from your discard pile and place it beneath your deck, because the promo doesn't have the reference on it, so it's not considered a good Matthew card unless that changed recently. I know that's how it was originally ruled. So this one is recurable, but usually with Matthew you want to draw anyway, and so if you're recurring it, that means like you're probably toward the end of the game and really just need to fetch back some resources. But I think in most cases there should be enough others in this deck to make the cannot be negated version of Authority of Christ better. Plus, the way that it's worded makes it so that Authority of Christ, or the promo, doesn't get tossed by Colosseum, because it doesn't say cannot be negated directly. It says cannot be interrupted or prevented or negated, so it doesn't get tossed, which is pretty nice. Alright, so he played... Okay, so yeah, he used Storehouse to take Temple Dedication from his reserve, and then he activated Hezekiah's Signet Ring, which is a pretty... it's very strong, but definitely underplayed card, just because artifact slots are pretty, have some high value these days. So oftentimes, counters aren't always the best in your artifact slot, but I mean, cards like Wasting Disease or Covenant with Death, I mean, those are pretty hard counters that are popular in the artifact slot too. So I don't see why Hezekiah's Signet Ring should be thought of as any worse necessarily, since it is a really strong counter. I mean, you can't search deck or discard pile, but I mean, it also doesn't give you any benefit if they do. Alright, so it looks like he's coming out with Kenaniah. He's going out with Hannah, and he's choosing not to reveal my hand. My hand is protected, so that's, I guess, probably what he was thinking. Kenaniah protects musicians from the special ability on the next evil enhancement. Play this battle. So it could be tricky to deal with. Let's see. I could go with Nebuchadnezzar, but I can't search my deck, so yeah, that probably wouldn't be the best option. So I'm thinking what I want to do here is a block with Conjurers. Yeah, and then I can go to my reserve and take Christian Suing Another. I think, yeah. So I'm going to take Christian Suing Another, and then should be, he's going to use Music Leader, which is fine. I'll at least get the draw off Damascus. I don't know, maybe it's not worth it since he's getting two cards that he can specifically use, and I'm just getting one random card. But I think the speed, well, I mean, the thing about Music Leader is that there are only so many cards that he can actually grab. So at a certain point, him searching is going to be less effective. Do I want to draw or not? Yeah, I think I'm going to draw. Christian Martyr, that's pretty good. I help the block here, but I don't think I'll need it. So let's see if he wants to trigger again. Doesn't look like it, so I think it's my initiative. So I can play Christian Suing Another, so I can interrupts the battle, so it interrupts Canonize Protect, which is good. And then I can choose a hero in play to fight the rescuing hero. So let's see where I can get the most value here. I think if I just choose Peter and I'll choose Kananaya. And then I will draw one Peter. So now I can play Strife, and I can withdraw all but one hero, which means I can withdraw Hannah from the main battle, and I can withdraw Kananaya from the side battle. Oh, he played Temple Dedication. Oops. Alright, well I guess I missed that. Okay, so yeah, there he played it and he removed it. Alright, so he goes back. That goes back on top. Alright, so I guess as long as he lets me take back Strife, I mean, I guess then, or because, you know, we wouldn't have even been in the side battle. I mean, Strife, I guess, could still work, but I'll keep Christian Suing Another in there. Alright, so, now I guess the only option here is to play Strife and Christian Martyr. Or no, they're still protected from evil cards, so. Since I played that one, or like, I mean, since I only played Strife because Christian Suing Another was active, then I would be fine taking that one back. Strife. Alright, so I think he's just going to get this one. Which, unfortunate. Temple Dedication is a pretty good card. Oh man, that was kind of a mess. Okay, so he gets that one. It's fine. We've still got some good defensive plays here. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if there's another way to get Divination out of reserve. That one would have really helped if I had Colosseum. I could have at least taken out his Kananaya, and then, I mean, I guess he probably had some ammo for Hannah still anyway, so that one it might not have mattered too much. It would still have Hannah's protected, and he'd probably searched for, you know, something to play on her anyway, so probably wouldn't have mattered too much, but that's a bummer. Okay. Now he has to get down to 8 cards. After doing all that searching, he has to figure out who else he can put down, I guess. So I guess what would I have done if I had known that they were protected? Probably nothing. I mean, there's not really anything I could have done. Alright, so he's playing Love Righteousness. Alright, oh no, he's not playing it. He just moved it to his reserve with Storehouse. Which is fine. Alright, so didn't draw any lost souls, which is good. Jealousy is another great card for Colosseum. Especially now that, you know, I've got 4 heroes in play and he's got 6 heroes in play, so that's a toss for 10. We'll see if we can get that up even more by the time I have to use it. Can maybe take out a unsuspecting 24 Elders or something, although I guess if he's negating evil cards then he'll be negating Colosseum, so yeah, maybe not. But we'll see. So I definitely don't want to draw now because I don't have any lost souls out, so if I can just keep soul droughting for now, then, you know, don't have to worry about defense. Although I have lots of defensive cards, or like dominance, I guess that would be handy to use. I wonder if it'd be worth it to play Hypocrisy. I mean, like, I can't search, well, I can search my reserve. Oh man, maybe I should use 4 Drachma Coin and I can bait the Foreign Wives block. Should I just go for it? Of course, drawing 4 puts me at 15 cards and I have to get down even more. His hand's protected, so banning to Hannah wouldn't really do that much for me. But I mean, banning to his offense actually seems like it'd be pretty good right now. I don't have any priests. Alright, so yeah, let's just go for it. Let's bait that Foreign Wives block. Alright, so discard, draw 4. There's some lost souls. It's alright. Don't really have any other evil horses to grab. I already got the 2 that I really need. I do have Esther, and I think I want to get Joy on her right away. Neither of them have negated in the special ability, so if I do go out with Esther to bait the Foreign Wives block, then yeah, she wouldn't be able to discard anyone, so you'd actually have to discard my outsiders because it's not an optional discard, so... Or wait, oh, no, let's just discard an evil human, so I could discard one of his other... Ooh, that could be good. Alright, so let's just do that. I can take out one of his other evil characters. Should be pretty sweet. I think Esther's gonna get initiative against, I mean, she's definitely gonna get initiative against any of these three. The bad part would be if, the bad part would be if he is able to get initiative and then is able to toss something for 3, because that would just take out my Esther. That'd be kind of a bummer. But if he doesn't have initiative with anything, then I can just play Angel. So I think we're okay. Got Thomas, pretty nice. If I could Reach of Desperation, then that makes, you know, Thomas, I have an interrupt on him and then can play Authority of Christ, cannot be negated, which is nice. He's going with King Xerxes, playing Sheol from his reserve, banding to Queen Vashti. Neither of them have cannot be negated in the special ability. And I don't think, let's see, yeah, this opponent has play advantage. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and he's got 6 there, yeah, and 8 there, so he's definitely has play advantage right now. And then he's drawing 3, and he's banding again. Honestly, it might be worth it to try to do AOC right now. He probably has a negate. Oh, if he bans to Foreign Wives, then... Oh, okay, so he banned in Foreign Wives. Vashti ignores me. No, she only ignores male royalty. Ignore is actually, I think, decent on defense now. It's not really good on offense anymore, just because of the change. Basically just makes it a stalemate where you can't hurt each other, so it's not really a battle winner on offense now, but I think it's still okay. Saying about wives isn't an enhancement, but when you oh, he was thinking that it was Colosseum, but it's Esther's ability that when you bring an evil character into battle, that does count as playing an evil card. I should probably double check that, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works. Okay, yeah, you got it. You play a character Rainbow Sight by putting it in your territory or your side of the battle. Okay. So, toss wives for 7. So I'm going to toss Foreign Wives for 7/7, because that's regardless of protection. Yep, test effect allows player to play an enhancement in a different way than usual. The enhancement is discarded to decrease an opposing character regardless of protect or immune effects. And then, since I played last, it would technically be his initiative, but I'm just going to do that. Alright, so I think he's thinking now if he wants to use Sheol right away. Might be able to get block with it, but I don't really want to use Gather Together because then it would take away Esther's protection, because it's only while she's alone. Well, actually, hold on. So I think if the ability triggers, when it triggers, or it checks if she's alone, and then the protect would be ongoing. So if I ban in characters after the fact, I believe she would still be protected, and all OT human heroes for that matter. But that would be something to ask about. Okay, so he's asking if Joy would count as the last good enhancement played in battle. I don't know. We realized that he should have used Kinsman's Agreement to discard my Joy before I even went out with Esther, which I didn't even think about the fact that he could have done that. But yeah, that probably would have been a really good play. So he ended up not using Sheol, gave me the doll. So we've got that for now, and then I'm guessing that before I attack next turn, he's going to use Joy, or going to use Kinsman's to discard my Joy, which is unfortunate. I'm going to put down Simon the Magician. The one caveat or thing that doesn't really work well in this deck is that Simon the Magician doesn't work if Peter is in play, so you kind of gotta be aware of that, I guess, or conscious of it. But the reason I put Simon the Magician down now is that he might not realize that he's not working with Peter in play, so you might think like, oh, he's got Simon down to make his stuff cannot be negated, but you know, it actually can be on Simon right now. Worst case scenario, I just play Christian Martyr on Peter and then block with Simon and, you know, use Hypocrisy or even Table of Demons. Give me about a winner if there's an idol, if an idol is in play. If I do get an idol, it would probably be worth it to play Table of Demons as or in territory, because then I can underdeck both Music Leader and Hezekiah's Signet Ring. Should be pretty good. I don't know that I need to do a whole lot of searching at this point now, though. Although it is really stopping up my Nebuchadnezzar, so maybe. We shall see. Alright, so he grabbed Flying Scroll from his reserve with Storehouse. And now he's probably just going to take my Esther. Bummer. Alright, so now he's got my Esther. So I'm going to have to figure out a way to deal with her, which is unfortunate. But, oh, I forgot to use my Gain Lost Soul. Could have shuffled a card from my reserve. Maybe, oh, that's one way I could have gotten Divination, I guess. But I think Simon is the only other character I can play it on. I mean, really it's, yeah, ideal scenario is using Conjurers to grab it from reserve and then just playing it on Conjurers in that battle, because you kind of want it to be a surprise anyway. Work well against like a Protected Gideon or Protected Esther or something like that. Although, ideally I would have a way to deal with Esther, you know, outside of the battle. I think he's deciding whether he wants to use my Esther. Oh, and I have to decide if I should play Christian Martyr on my Esther before he even attacks. So I don't even know. I don't know if there's really a way for me to get her back from him. Alright, well, he's just going out, which is fine. I could use my Jealousy to take her out. Either way, I should definitely use Aliens, because I want to generate a Lost Soul. And I can search deck, or if I bring in Outsiders, then you would just be able to discard Outsiders with Esther, so probably not great. Also be able to do the same thing against Simon, and also with Nebuchadnezzar, so, that's less than fortunate. Man. Is it worth it to just get Outsiders out anyway, and then maybe just get my Asher pull? Yeah, maybe. And I mean, to win this battle, I could just block with Aliens and then I can block with aliens and play Jealousy, but I wouldn't get the Soul Gen then, so it's 1-1, but I think I need the Soul Gen. Anything else, or if nothing else, we can just give him gain, and then maybe he'll play a good dominant, we can get rid of Shut Door, and then if I withdraw someone, then you can, you know, it could work. Do I have any idols in my deck? I don't think so. Do I have any discard? No. Alright, so let's just, I don't know, let's just go for it. And Outsiders is CBN because he's got 12 cards in hand and I have 9. Oh, right. He's using Sheol. Right. Bummer. No, that was dumb. I guess I shouldn't have used Outsiders. Well, mistakes were made. Lesson learned. Don't leave him with any evil characters. That's the lesson, because then he can still use Sheol. He meets Unity. Well, that's right. He could still use the ability on Esther if he wanted to, but alright, so he's playing Destruction on my Astral Pole, which, I mean, it's still active for the rest of this battle, but I guess it doesn't really matter. So he's discarding my Outsiders. Technically I get Special Initiative before he reveals the good dominant. He could still do it after, but doesn't really matter. Because I don't have a way to negate it anyway, so man, that was bad. I just should not have searched. So lesson learned on that one. Alright, so now we're kind of in a tough situation because he doesn't have any Lost Souls out. We've got Lost Souls out and don't really have a good way to block Esther. At least not with evil characters that have negated in the special ability. But ooh, okay, so he put down Firefoxes, which means that he no longer has Unity on Sheol, which is good, I guess, in the long term. I mean, he doesn't have any Lost Souls to underdeck at this point anyway, but still nice, you know. Alright, so we got confirmation that he decided to discard his Esther because mine's already there. So he's just rubbing it in my face. Alright, so you have the Beggar Lost Soul. The thing with the Lost Souls in this deck is that you can kind of try to hide them. A card that would go really well in this deck is Sheol, because obviously the defense has complete Unity because it's all Crimson, and then the Lost Souls kind of work together to hide themselves as best as possible. Alright, so we got Matthew. So we could just go in and get some drawing. I get to draw 3, which is nice. You would get Music Leader trigger, but I don't really mind him triggering it at this point. I mean, there's nothing for him to go and discard, and I can just draw more off Damascus, and he probably doesn't even have that many cards left to even go for, because he's got pretty much all his musicians out, maybe a few battle winners, but yeah, that's not a huge deal. And plus, the more that he searches, the fewer cards he has in his deck, and the fewer cards that he has in his deck, the faster he'll draw Lost Souls. So we need that to happen for sure. The only problem with that, though, is that I do have 12 cards in my hand currently, and drawing more just means I have to discard more. Oh, hey, look. Oh, perfect. So I can play Hypocrisy, bounce all of his heroes, and then also bounce my Esther, which means that she goes back to her owner's hand, which is mine. Really makes cards, I mean, all the bounce stuff that they introduced in Lineage of Christ really makes Flying Scroll not quite as valuable, because like if you take someone's Jonah or Babylonian Merchants or whoever, Esther, then bounce just resets them to their owner's hand. So like Oath of Purity or something, just pop it up and you can bounce their characters. So yeah. So I can put Esther back down. If I put Joy down, I can just bait the Kinsman's right away, because I mean, I don't think he's going to I don't think he's going to use it on anything else. And I need to get rid of 2 more cards anyway before I pass, so sure, I'll just do it. I don't think there's really any way for me to get rid of it, so question is, do I want to just go out with Joash and get the search for the artifact? Covenant with Adam would be pretty good against like Persian Horsemen, sort of Firefoxes, as long as I don't use a draw or search on the turn that I go out with them. Yeah, I think it'll be fine. I'll do a battle challenge with Joash. So he protects Lost Souls from evil cards and can take an OT artifact from reserve. So I think Worship of Edom actually might be decent, because get an idol in play, and then it'll make my Table of Demons a little more worth it. And I want to play it as an artifact or so anyway, so. And he's choosing not to block, which is fine. So I'm gonna just go ahead and put down Worship of Edom as an artifact. And do I want to put down Nebuchadnezzar? Oh, I could have used Nebuchadnezzar against Esther, because he turned down Hezekiah's Signet Ring. So maybe I don't want to spoil that I have Nebuchadnezzar. I could just Storehouse would be nice in this deck as well, because there are lots of enhancements and lots in the reserve that you'd be able to grab. A little bit pricier for this deck. It's a promo, so going to a tournament, or some specific tournaments, you would be able to get it. definitely a good, useful card. Hmm. And not being able to use some of these evil dominants in the past couple battles has been kind of annoying. Vain Philosophy would be nice. I do have Betrayal in here, so I can underdeck his storehouse and then use Vain Philosophy before he draws it back. So I don't want to just like discard it, but maybe I'll just put down Nebuchadnezzar and just deal with it. I don't think he really has any territory destruction. Like musicians and white, they don't really have a whole lot specific to them, I think, so should be okay, but it's more so just about him knowing that I have Nebuchadnezzar, so now he's probably going to turn up Hezekiah's Signet Ring again. Which, not too bad, because if he does, then I can, I've got a really good target for Table of Demons, so. Oh yeah, one thing that is nice about, even though you do have Peter in here with Simon, if you're able to grab Invoking Terror from reserve, which works pretty well on Conjurers who you saw earlier, then you can use Invoking Terror to just underdeck your Peter, and then you've got Invoking Terror back in your deck to use later, and then Simon's, just like that, Simon's cards are CBN, or New Testament Evil cards are CBN. Yeah, it looks like he accidentally drew one too many cards because I put all those heroes back in his hand, so he was at 14. So even if you are at like 14 or 15 cards, or even 16, you can't draw even by game rule, which is draw 3 at the beginning of your turn. If you would hit 16, you stop drawing right there, and so you only got to draw 2. So he used Hunter to grab Forsaken, which is a New Testament soul. So Forsaken is a really good lost soul. Definitely underrated. It's kind of like Dull, where it's super powerful, but also not quite as popular in the meta, just because it doesn't really give you any benefit. It's kind of like a counter lost soul. Same with like Distressed is another example. But Hunter has to take an OT soul from a deck. Alright, so yeah, there it is, Distressed. So he's got a lot of really powerful like counter lost souls in this deck, which I think, maybe if you have them all in one deck, then they kind of can compete with the speed ones, because you have counters for them. Alright, so he took No Regard from the Lord with Storehouse. Oh, wow, okay. Of course, he does have Holy Grail, which is kind of the universal territory destruction, which is unfortunate. Not really any way for me to deal with that. Man, who uses Holy Grail these days? Am I right? Holy Grail was really popular back when the Garden Tomb was a thing, because back when you could use Holy Grail to take out one of their evil brigades, so that your Garden Tomb heroes would be ignoring more evil characters, and of course that was when Ignore was actually a battle winner, and you couldn't even block from hand if your evil characters were ignored. I think that was pretty much the reason that that rule got changed. So he's decreasing a hero from each opponent, which is the number of cards in each opponent's hand. So I have 9, and he's decreasing Thomas by 9, which means that Thomas is gone. No Regard for the Lord is a pretty strong territory destruction card, especially in multiplayer when you can hit each opponent. So yeah, it's pretty good. I like it in reserve. That I think that is good to, if your opponent has a pretty a hero that's pretty tough to deal with, then that can be a really good option to just grab from your reserve, but you don't have it in deck because it's not really a battle winner. So there's a good deck building strategy on René's end here. I think he's been playing like this kind of white-brown deck for a while, or at least he played it in a few of the tournaments that were online earlier this year, and he had some pretty good success with it. I know he won at least one of the tournaments, placed in a couple of the others. So, I mean, it's definitely a strong deck, and he's, even though he doesn't have as much tournament experience, definitely is still a strong player, even though he wouldn't say so, but he's too humble. Alright, so he's coming out with Kenanaya, banded to 24 Elders, and he's shuffling Hezekiah's Signet Ring, which means that he is negating evil cards, which means he's negating my Colosseum, which means that he is protected as well. So means we'll finally get a chance to use some of this defense. So Seized by Babylon cannot be prevented by a good card, and it works with yeah, it does work on Simon. I don't get the full benefit of taking a site or fortress, which would be pretty nice to be able to take his storehouse. But, I mean, Nebi is converted and Conjures is dead. I think those are the only two Babylonians in this deck, so well, I'd still have my Hypocrisy and could bounce my Nebuchadnezzar. Maybe I can figure out another way to bounce him later on, though. So Jealousy would be negated. Table of Demons would be negated. So I might just have to go with... I think I'll just go with Simon, and I have to use Seized by Babylon. So it cannot be prevented by a good card. So it gets around 24 Elders, and it interrupts the battle, so it gets around Kenanaya. So I interrupt the battle and capture 24 Elders. And because he still has Kenanaya in battle, then he does not get special initiative because of that. So there's not a whole lot he could do. I mean, he could play like 3 woes or something. No, that puts me at a 5-4. So it would not be his initiative. I don't really think I have anything to play other than Table of Demons, which would be... Oh, it would actually not be negated still, because I interrupted 24 Elders and captured him, so the negate was interrupted and then wasn't able to reactivate. But he would still be able to negate it. But unless he has like blessings or something, he probably wouldn't be able to negate all. So, oh, but there's no idol in play. Never mind. So maybe I could just, yeah, let's just try that. Let's see how many heroes are in play. 7, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 11, 12. There we go. Oh wait, oh, so evil cards are no longer negated. So actually, oh, so yeah, Jealousy is actually being tossed by Colosseum, which still decreases him 12-12. So yeah, special initiative to negate Colosseum, because Jealousy cannot be negated in the special ability, which is why it gets tossed by Colosseum. So the way you can do that is with something like Overcome, which, oh yeah, I forgot that he was able to grab it back with that. Okay, so then Jealousy just goes back to my hand because I'm not able to toss it. Yeah, I think we just gotta play Martyr. So it's not too bad. We have Jealousy to use another time, and we made him use Overcome again. But I guess he still has to take it back, so it doesn't really matter. Overcome is a pretty strong card. It'd be nice if I had something to negate it. Oh, I guess I could have just played Jealousy normally then. Shoot, I should have done that. Or I should have done that. This would have been the same thing. I mean, decrease in 12-12. Yeah, maybe it'll come in handy later on still. Alright, so you put down Persian Conquerors. If you control another Persian, discard a fortress, site, or artifact. Opponent may set aside all heroes in battle for 1 turn instead, and that cannot be interrupted. It's pretty strong. Could discard Colosseum or Damascus, which both of those have been pretty clutch. But we'll see. I don't know, maybe if there's a way for me to negate it beforehand, then but if I go in with like Esther or something, she'd be protected and I wouldn't be able to set aside my heroes instead, so it'd just be a cannot be interrupted discard of my fortresses, which would be unfortunate. Maybe I should have just captured Kenanaya and discarded 24 Elders with Christian Murder, because then you could get 24 Elders back, and I'm not, and then I'd have potential to use them for like Gather Together or something. But I suppose probably the damage that 24 Elders would be able to do to me is probably worse than I'd be able to, ban him. Although going with every tribe to 24 Elders that'd be pretty sweet. And I'd be able to do that every turn, so. Oh well. Alright, so I've got a couple star abilities. So we're going to play David. We're going to play him as green because then he gets the interrupt with Gather Together. And then I can look at the bottom 6 cards of my deck. And top deck a good card. And this one is a May, so but I should probably top deck the New Jerusalem there. The deck doesn't actually have the Warriors New Jerusalem in it. It has the old promo. I don't know exactly what the price difference is, but I'm just using it, using the Warriors version in Lackey because the promo version, or even the old promo version, has the new promo image for some reason, so just figured that would be less confusing. New Jerusalem, or the new promo is actually pretty good. It's not quite up there with the Second Coming, but it's it's decent. It just copies the last dominant played in the phase, so if you want to play it with Son of God, you have to do it in the same phase. But you can also do it off your opponent's Son of God, or you can also just do it on like Angel of the Lord or something, so it's not quite as versatile, but it is good against decks that use Hezekiah's Signet Ring, because that stops me from being able to search with Second Coming. Alright, so how are we gonna attack here? So he's got some pretty strong defensive options here. Persian Horseman can go into like pretty much anything in his deck. Can go ahead and activate Worship of Edom so that I have an idol out. That'll make Table of Demons potential battle winner, also good against its artifacts. Might be good just to take out his Holy Grail so that he can't convert my Simon as well. And I can take out his Music Leader too. Since it's later in the phase though, unfortunately the negate would not bring my Nebuchadnezzar back, but might still be worth it. Yeah, let's just do it. I do have Fiery Serpents now, so I do have another option to block next turn, but it'd be nice to have Simon available as well, just so I'm not quite as limited. Maybe I should have left Table of Demons out so I could see what was actually doing the underdecking, but alright, you got it. So how are we going to attack? OT Heroes, probably be good. So then I got the Interrupt on Council. So I've Interrupt with Thieves Descendant and Gather Together. Although Persian Conquerors is still, you'd be able to discard. Could discard my Worship of Edom now too, which honestly wouldn't be too bad, although I do have both my Edomites still in my deck, so it would be nice for later on. Could go with King Joash, and then can grab one of these two from reserve. Since he doesn't have Unity right now, I'm not worried about searching. So it's probably a good opportunity to actually do that. Unfortunately, the Protect on David would be negated by Colosseum, so that part doesn't really help. So yeah, I think we'll just go with Joash. He also protects also some evil cards, so I guess I'm not worried about Sheol one way or the other. I don't really need to negate because I have some interrupts in my hand already, so let's grab the Battle Winner. Let's see what he's got. Maybe if he does go yeah, he thought he could use Sheol, but nope, I'm not gonna let him do that. Not gonna make that mistake again. Alright, so he's going with Mikhail. Can reveal the top 3 cards of his deck. No evil characters there. And then he can exchange for a brown evil character in his territory, which I'm going to guess is either going to be Persian Horsemen or Persian Conquerors. Well, obviously those are the only 2 in his territory. Can't exchange for Fireboxes because it's not brown. Persian Horseman, I'm curious what options he has in his reserve. Might have like Haman's Plot or something that could be bad. He's gonna go with Persian Conquerors. Maybe we'll just let him discard, because I mean, I'm behind right now, or got I've got 1, he's got 2, so I kind of need to keep things going. He's definitely got Son of God in his hand too. I can't interrupt it. Let's just discard Worship of Edom. Alright, so now's my initiative. He's a 10-10. I could convert him. I could band, or I could underdeck him. I think convert's probably the best option because then I can, reuse it later on. And I want to save my interrupts for, other things. And if he does have a negate, then I can just play AOC and arrows my Simon, but that's alright. We take out 4 of his pretty decent evil characters, so let's convert to Seal. And then he does get special initiative, so that's before. Alright, so he played Chorus Rebellion, interrupt the battle, and remove all cards in battle from the game, so I get special initiative now. I think, oh man, if he still had more heroes out, so I could have played, oh, never mind. Joash is not a green prophet, so Gathered Together would not interrupt. Otherwise, I could just ban in his entire offense and just let us get removed. Which maybe would have been okay, but no, I'd rather just interrupt and banish. Rebellion there. So now, I don't think he has too many other options for brown interrupts. There's foreign horses, which would be pretty good, and definitely not unlikely. It's a pretty powerful card. And then, oh, he could still use Sheol, but alright. He's not using Sheol, which is good. He probably wants to keep it to continue soul hiding, but since he's going to draw a Lost Soul next turn, or this turn right now, because nothing shuffled his deck after he revealed the top 3 with Mikkel. But he has to get rid of Firefoxes in order to have Unity, so we're in the clear for that. It's using Storehouse. This deck doesn't really have anything to punish searching, which would be probably good. Another reason why Sheol would be a good add, I guess. But definitely a more expensive card right now, so kind of a tricky one to get sometimes. Words of Encouragement is what he grabbed from Reserve with Storehouse. I don't mind that too much because that means that he'd be drawing, and I need at least 2 more Lost Souls out in order to win, so that would be decent. But the Interrupt in play is not preferable, obviously. I really don't have that many blocks at the moment, which is not great. I mean, Fiery Serpents by itself, I'm not sure if it's genderless or not. I don't think so, since it's not in the identifier. Can be a block. I'd have to discard Jealousy. I'd withdraw and paralyze all humans in battle, which is pretty good, especially against like mass banning chains. That decreases them 0.3 per turn. So I guess the block that I'd kind of have to do here is just Strife, withdraw everyone but whoever leaves me with initiative, and then just play Jealousy, or toss Jealousy off of Colosseum. He's going to negate it again with Overcome, but then this time actually just play Jealousy. And I guess he also has Words of Encouragement to interrupt the battle, so he'll have something against Jealousy as well, but kind of just got to do what you got to do at this point. He's protecting deck and Exodus Heroes from discard abilities on evil cards. You can exchange a card from hand with a good card that involves music from reserve made into an OT female. Doesn't look like he's exchanging or banding. Okay. It's a 3/5, so he's gonna get initiative against Simon. Oh man, it'd be really nice if I was able to play Vayne. But silly Storehouse. Alright, so Fiery Serpents will get initiative. So might as well use the ability, or at least attempt to. So he's probably going to negate it. Which is fine, because I get Jealousy back, and then I can use it unless he does like, or if he negates it with Overcome, then I can potentially toss with Colosseum. So, and he wouldn't be able to interrupt the battle with. Okay, he's got a dominant. Okay. So Fiery Serpents is discarded. We're going to send my Shut Door to the bottom of my deck. Because he played a good dominant. Nothing was protecting Lost Souls. I don't have anything that I could have done there, so I think we'll just give him 24 Elders. So if he does have Son of God and Second Coming at this point, then that would be game. But still got 18 cards left in his deck. We know he has Son of God, obviously, because he's showed it to us a few times with Overcome. And, I mean, So, I don't know. I guess I'm guessing he doesn't have Second Coming at this point, because he probably would have played it already. But, yeah, looks like he's just trying to get down a card. So, he might be using New Jerusalem, because if I remember correctly, I don't think he has a Second Coming yet in his collection, and yeah, he might just be using cards that are only in his collection. Some people like to do that on Lackey just so that they're, like real games. Like you would be able to play in a tournament. But I mean, it's also good to try out cards that you don't have, and Lackey is really nice for that. You can see what works well and what doesn't, so you see what cards are actually worth it to get. So definitely worthwhile if you say you want to try out a card like Sheol, which is very strong, but if you find out that it doesn't really work well in your deck, then you don't want to have spent a bunch of money on it just to not play it in that deck. But maybe that's a bad example, because Sheol fits in pretty much every deck. The one thing about this deck where Sheol wouldn't help as much is that it uses Melchizedek, who protects Lost Souls from evil cards in his territory class. So that could be, that would kind of collide, but it's still good for that add to battle ability. Alright, so we got Guardian down, which means we secured 2 Lost Souls. I'm not sure if he's using Falling Away or not. So now, since I can't search any discard piles, I could just underdeck the New Covenant. Don't really have any other artifacts to do, so it's nice to get that Battle Winner back in my deck for future use. Now it would be nice if I had Thomas, because now I've got Reach of Desperation and Authority of Christ that go together quite well. I think what I might have to do is just go with Matthew to get that draw 2, and then really just hope I can get to some better defense here, because this could very well be my last turn here. If I don't draw any defense today, I need to stop him. Oh, but of course if I draw, then he gets the block with Firefoxes pretty easily. It's unfortunate. Oh, he could have used Firefoxes to block last turn, because I used the search on Joash. Oh, but Joash protects Lost Souls from evil cards, so protect from Firefoxes protect. So maybe we just have to go with Joash again. Esther would also work. Protects Lost Souls and OT Human Heroes from evil cards, so maybe that's actually even better. Because then I get better initiative to play like Gather Together, and I could band in my drawing guys. Of course, that also opens them up to be able to use like Giving a Trickery off of Persian Horseman or something too. Really, I mean, every tribe is the only way I have to like basically guarantee that I get initiative. And I could band to Hannah, also band to Miriam, who could band to Hannah. I got a few options here. It'd be nice if I had Melchizedek. He's my other priest. That would allow me to look at the top 9 cards in my decks, and hopefully be able to get Son of God out of there. But unfortunately not. Alright, so let's just go with Esther. We'll see what happens. I already guess he's gonna block with, well, Mikkel, reveal the top 2, and then Persian Horseman. So there's just 3 woes. So that's good to see. Well, I guess not actually, because now he's drawing 2 and we'll have 3 woes. He's taking from his reserve. And unfortunate part about Damascus is that a lot of the searching that people do is discard pile or reserve, and like the deck is kind of only like early game for the most part. So he grabbed Bad Dealings. Which is a negate and draw 1, I believe, which is pretty good, pretty good. So pretty much what would help him the most right here is if he has like Give Me Night Trickery. I haven't used a draw ability this turn, so Wasting Disease wouldn't do it for him. Lost Anointing would work because my Esther has won a battle, and then it would be regardless of protection off of Persian Horseman. He's got Today, so you can convert an evil character in battle or discard an evil card in a set-aside area. Alright, so he's just playing it for numbers. So that makes him a 3/9. So I think even though Cascade Negate is no longer, or because Cascade Negate is no longer a thing, I'm still going to play Gathered Together, so I can band in basically as many heroes as I want to at this point, just because it's an Emerve Good and Evil Brigades. So only the interrupt is dependent on if she's or if the hero is a Green Prophet, but the band is still, you can still do that. That's not going to help. Might as well do that guy as well. Can do Every Tribe, and sure, we'll bring in these guys too, just in case. I don't have a Samuel to reserve, otherwise that would be pretty good. That doesn't really help. He doesn't have any priests for me to abandon, so let's just draw 2 off of Matthew and 1 off of Peter. Yeah, I should maybe kind of clarify the order, the abilities that I'm doing here. Oh, I could abandon someone with Every Tribe. So yeah, okay, so we got the draw off of Peter. Now I'm going to search with Joash. And nothing for me to exchange, I don't think. So if he does negate Gather Together, then it does not cascade. So I would keep the cards that I drew and searched for, and Persian Conquerors would stay in battle. So that's fine. Matthew goes back. Peter goes back. Josh goes back. Conqueror stays. Every tribe, and then these two. So now I'm 13-13, and both of these characters are protected. Because Esther, when she first went into battle, we confirmed this in the Discord earlier on, if Esther bans to other characters, her protect is still yeah, I don't think he saw this when I asked it. So the if alone is just a one-time check, so it checks when she enters battle, and then after that, all Lost Souls and OT human heroes that were in play, maybe even, I'm not sure if it's retroactively targeting, but either way, Persian Conquerors was in play. And so the it will still be active, or the protect will still be active, even if she bans to someone, which makes a banning card on Esther really strong, especially if you have a lot of OT heroes. It'd be nice to have a cannot be negated banning card, but something like every tribe would work because it cannot be interrupted by Yule card. Mikhail cannot enter battle again because she is a unique character that has already entered battle once. I'm guessing he has. He would have to have some. I'm thinking you wanted to add Sheol, or add Mikhail to battle with Sheol, but that's not possible. Unfortunately, Sheol only adds evil humans, so he would not be able to add fire foxes. So that was turned out to be a pretty good rescue. I was still able to draw 3 and got the Lost Soul. I definitely should have played Reach before I played Gather Together, but I wasn't exactly sure of how much I'd be able to get. I wasn't even thinking about using every tribe's band when I played Gather Together, but we'll see. I should keep Captive Princes to generate a Lost Soul. Got 11 cards in hand, so I don't think I'm going to really have a way to get rid of Storehouse by the time it will matter. Well, he does have Son of God in hand, and if I am able to like draw into Betrayal, if I am able to draw into like Betrayal, and I can underdeck his Storehouse, and in his next phase, or in the next phase, I can play Vayne without, or if he's not expecting it, to underdeck his Son of God. Do I want to play a Charioteers down? He's going to be right back, so I can think. Good. Okay, so I had a little time to think. I decided that I'm just going to come up with Adam as an artifact, since I have an interrupt, and I've got a couple of interrupts, so I don't really need the negate. And then I'm also just going to put down Captive Princes as evil, because I'm going to most likely be able to use it when he attacks, and if I'm not able to use it when he attacks, that means either he didn't attack, or he drew into his Second Coming or New Jerusalem, and he's going to win the game anyway. So he drew Lawless. What would be nice is if he did not draw. Okay, so yeah, he decided not to use it, which is probably fine. Either means that he drew it, or that he doesn't want to risk it being in the top 6, which so he's using Storehouse, and so he's I guess that means he didn't draw it, which is great. Which just means that in the battle we really have to avoid letting him use Words of Encouragement, because he's got 11 cards left in his deck. We know at least one of them, or not two of them, or the bottom two, are Music Leader and Holy Grail. So yeah, it's I don't know, does that even out to a 1 in 3 chance of him drawing it with Words of Encouragement? I think so. But the question is, how are we going to do that? I think he still has Overcome in his hand, right? Yeah, that's... Yep. Man, that's not great. Which just means that whatever he goes with, he's still going to be able to negate Colosseum. But at the very least, maybe if I use Captive Princes on the block, and then I'm able to draw like off of Dream, I can draw into my Son of God, then at least I could get to 4, or yeah, I would be able to rescue Lawless, or no, I'd be able to rescue my Captive Princes as well, so I could get to 5 theoretically, because I'm at 3 right now. So this is it's a really good, really tight game right now. So I've got 12 cards left in my deck, and I know that Son of God is not in, I think, the bottom 5, because I looked at the bottom 6 with Eve's Descendant, and I don't think I've shuffled since then. So really that leaves 7 cards for my Son of God to be in, which I could draw off Dream. So this is a really important turn right here, and actually I realize now that I put down Captive Princes and he only drew 1 Lost Soul, that his best play might be to just not make a rescue at all, and hope that I can't generate a Lost Soul on my turn. That gives him 3 more cards to draw into his Second Coming or New Jerusalem on his turn, and then I wouldn't be able to, or he would be able to play his dominance first, even if I do draw a Son of God on my turn. So definitely a tough choice to make right here, because I mean, he could win on this turn without even drawing if he's able to make a rescue and then play Son of God. As long as he doesn't ban, because then I'm just going to play Strife and underdeck also, or I guess even if he, well, he would have to I guess, also play Son of God before he rescues the Lost Soul, because otherwise I would just give him the Beggar and shuffle my Withdraw Lost Soul. So it's really coming down to a game of souls and dominance, like who's gonna draw what. Oh. Well, all that analysis for him to just go with a woman with child. Well, is he not gonna play them right away? Well, I mean, I don't think there's any reason for him to hold on to them, so I'm not sure why he's not playing them now, but I guess I'll just block. Oh, now he's doing it. Okay. Is he gonna play Second Coming now? It's his turn, so he gets to play as many dominants as he wants before I get a chance. So, yeah, that was a really good and close game. Man, that Woman with Child, definitely one of the strongest heroes that White has to offer. I mean, it's really. Oh yeah, he did have Falling Away in there, so Guardian came in clutch. Definitely definitely a valuable dominant still. I mean, like, obviously the new one is nice too, as it can kind of counter shield, but in this one, they uses the Apostles one, so that can be a card to upgrade. If you have the new one from Revelation of John. Yeah, I don't know if always playing Falling Away right away is the best option. Because I mean, it works really well with Lost Souls like Remnant and Exiles, but and also like just kind of let's see, looking at the Lost Souls that I have rescued here, I mean, like Dull and Distressed can both be Lost Souls that are very, you know, if you time it right with Falling Away, they can come in pretty handy. I don't think you really even got that lucky. I mean, it was nice to have cards that can set up Music Leader right away in the first turn. You had like Love Righteousness right away, but I think that I mean, maybe some of the timing was lucky, but I mean, I got lucky at some of my timing as well. What would have been really nice is if I was able to play or get my Reach of Desperation and Dream earlier, or like Betrayal, kind of some of the drawing cards that this deck has. I mean, if you get some of the key drawing cards earlier, like Matthew and the enhancements I was just talking about, then this deck can actually be super fast. looks like Caleb just joined. A little bit too late, but you can watch it on YouTube eventually. So. I'm pretty sure you can just do as many as he wants before I get a chance to play any, so it doesn't have to go back and forth. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. I mean, maybe it would seem fair to be able to go back and forth, but I think let's see, action priority for dominance. The active player initially has action priority during each phase of their turn. And so yeah, if you have action priority, then that means you can play multiple dominance. So that's going to be it for this video. I hope you guys liked seeing this deck in action. And like I said before, if you're a newer player that is maybe trying to get into the more competitive scene, get past the starter decks, and really get an idea for how a lot of more competitive decks are built and what kind of cards work well and should be are viable, then check out this deck for sure. It's available on YourTurnGames for $65, like I said before. And then also the deal that Derek has going on right now is you can use the codes. Let's see, I've got the codes on here somewhere. So if you're, oh, maybe I don't. Okay, anyways, he's got a few codes on there for promos that would really help this deck, like Serpent. I think AOC is available there, codes that you can use for discounts to buy those promos as well for, I think, he's got like 20 or 30% off. So it's a really sweet deal. Feel free to check it out, and catch you guys next time. Bye.